this video today, we are going to be taking a look at Giratina Origin form in the Ultra Go Battle League. So there are a few things that I've discovered about Giratina Origin form that you can definitely use to your advantage if you want to save on Stardust and you want to save on a little bit of candy and you have a Giratina Origin form that you can use, and possibly, you know, a few TMs if you have some. If you even need them, you might already have the moveset that I've used for this, but Giratina Origin form is ranked number 2 overall. It is rated 100 as a lead, 99.4 as a closer, 92.8 as a switch, 100 as a charger, 90.8 as an attacker, and 77.8 for consistency. So I do have to comp specifically just because it is kind of inconsistent and because it's only a single move variant that I'm using in this comp for Go Battle Ultra League, okay? So against the entire Ultra League meta, assuming that our Giratina Origin, this is what I'm running on it. If it is just running Shadow Claw and Ominous Wind, if you have one shield versus one shield matchups, again, against the entire Ultra League meta, it has 182 wins and 89 losses. So on the surface, that doesn't really look that good. But most of the losses here are going to be obvious losses for the most part anyways. Like if they have an Ice Shard, Ice Beam, Lapras, I mean, you're still pretty much going to lose against that. All the normals you're still pretty much going to lose against. If you second move it and you add Dragon Pulse, that's going to give you potential coverage, you know, for the dark types and those normals, so keep that in mind. Obviously, it's still going to lose to the Clefable. Apparently, this says it loses against a Steelix. That seems kind of interesting. I actually still win against Steelix for the most part in practice. But where I find, honestly, the Giratina Origin shines, sometimes is when I open with it, or if I just straight up save the shields, because then he's going to have 196 wins and only 74 losses. So that flips that a lot. And then what's funny, too, is when you take a look at the no shield versus no shield matchups, Giratina Origin kind of falls down a lot. Like you definitely want to save a shield, if not both, for Giratina Origin. But again, I was just looking at it and I didn't want to have to invest in anything else, but I wanted something in Ultra League for me that was affordable, might only cost 1 or 2 TMs. I didn't have to throw a ton of Stardust at it, and could give me a little more flexibility, because I was running into matchups left and right with my double moved Giratina Altered where I was walled, you know, by a Steelix, or you know, I just found myself in picks where there was not really much I could do. And I was getting tired of that. I wanted to change the comp and I wanted more flexibility, which does bring us straight into the battles now. So as you can see, this first comp that I brought, I open up with Giratina Origin. Again, single moved. It is only Shadow Claw and Ominous Wind. Then I have Snorlax in the middle. I'm still addicted to Snorlax. Lick, Body Slam, Superpower is still what I'm running. I am still considering TMing Superpower to Earthquake. Then the Melmetal is also just a single charge move. So he is only, I don't believe I changed the move on him, but from what I remember, he is only Thundershock and Rock Slide. Again, we open up with the Giratina Origin, only the Shadow Claw and Ominous Wind. They open up with a Regirock, okay? Regirock's super quick. I do feel like he's gaining more value. You're seeing him more often because he is the quickest Stone Edge in the game. He accesses that so fast. You see right away I get the boost, so I'm like, you know what? I'm using shields right away. You're going to come in with your own Giratina Origin, like, I don't care. I'm going to go for another Ominous Wind, praying for another boost. I'm like, I'm still dedicated. I already have the boost. I want to keep it. I go for another Ominous Wind. Shields are down. I get in 1 or 2 extra Shadow Claws just to kind of over-invest on that energy, because I know this is going to KO with shields down. In comes the Togekiss here. I get off another Ominous Wind, like immediately into that Togekiss. I do want to swap out because I want to save the Giratina that I still have at this point, and then I swap into the Melmetal, obviously, because I can get to the Rock Slide super quick, and the Togekiss, I mean, it disappears. The Togekiss is gonzo. So now we throw the Rock Slide into the Regirock. It's actually neutral, so that's kind of considerable, I guess. Flash Cannon, you know, would have been preferred because it would have been super effective, but I'm not too worried about it because it's still neutral and I can get to the Rock Slide super quick against the Regirock. And it looks like the only thing they might have is Stone Edge, so that is a hard GG's. If they had Focus Blast, then they definitely would have beat the Melmetal, but I definitely still think I would have won because I still have the Snorlax on it. So GG's Trainer. All right, so going into the next battle, I did not change the line at all. We're going up against Pinkelponta here. Again, open up with the Giratina Origin, bring the Snorlax, run the Melmetal. Okay, they actually open up with a Snorlax, which that's pretty savage. I feel like this is definitely a Body Slam, so I'm not going to shield it. If they want to use the energy and do nothing to me, they can go ahead and do that now. I kind of swap in to the Snorlax versus Snorlax Mirror. I opt for it this way. I wouldn't really feel safe bringing in the Melmetal because I don't know if they have their own superpower on that Snorlax or if that is a Earthquake Snorlax, right? You don't want to be matched up. I guess it's fine. especially if you have a double moved Melmetal with superpower, then you can do that. But you know, again, this is Ultra League. The total stat product of Pokemon in Ultra League is a lot closer to what it actually needs to be, closer to what it should be at their full potential. Obviously, they'll reach their full potential in Master League, but in Ultra League, right, the Snorlax is going to tank a few hits, even if it's super effective. That's why I like Snorlax. He's a beast. So they come in with the Cresselia. Obviously, Lick is a ghost type fast move. I'm dealing the super effective, and it's going to hurt a little bit. But the Cresselia, I think they were running a Psycho... No, was it a Confusion or Psycho Cut? I don't remember. That looks like a Psycho Cut. So they're able to get their stuff pretty fast. Now, I know that Melmetal walls Cresselia. Cresselia cannot hit Melmetal at all. It resists everything Cresselia can throw at it. So they come in with their Swampert. I swap in to answer with the Giratina Origin. Now, this matchup's kind of interesting. This is one of the matchups that I really considered and why I wanted to make this video, right? Because... Shadow Claw and Ominous Wind is such a fast combo with Giratina Origin. Basically, at this point, when I invest the shields, I mean, I'm going to win. But the best thing that he could do to win against the Giratina Origin in this matchup is land an Earthquake, right? And there's no way I'm going to let him land an Earthquake. I don't even think he had it at this point. It's just another Hydro Cannon, which I'm going to tank kind of comfortably. And I already have another Ominous Wind good to go for the Cresselia here. Takes it to the dome. I think we reach no, we don't reach another one, unfortunately. I think they have just Aurora Beam possibly, because that's the only thing they've used so far. But again, at this point, my Melmetal comes back in. It's going to wall this Cresselia. Cresselia cannot answer or do anything to the Melmetal, so that's a hard GG's. GG's trainer. For this next battle, again, I did not change a thing. I think later on I did, but up to this point, I'm 2-0 with this line, so I keep it how it is. Now, they brought the Steelix that does have Dragon Tail. If they go to Crunch, I'm not too worried about it. Steelix isn't really known for its attack. It's a bulk pick, but I still want to, you know, invest in this matchup because with all the sims and everything I looked into for Giratina Origin, I know I can win this matchup if I use both shields. And really, I'm kind of just praying for the boost at this point. I mean, you do the same thing with Togekiss, the same thing with Giratina Altered, but you know, it's kind of more faster, consistent boost chances, I guess, with Giratina Origin. That's another thing to consider, right? The boost chance. But they come in with the Registeel. I'm able to get 2 Ominous Winds off into the Registeel here. Even if I got the boost, I don't think it'd be too considerable. Well, no, maybe if I did, I would have been able to tank a Flash Cannon. But at this point, with no boost and no shields, the Flash Cannon does take us out. So I don't really like where I'm at this point in the battle, because, again, that is a Registeel. If that thing has Focus Blast... Ouch. Did you see that damage? That's a ton of damage. So I go for the superpower. I'm like, don't shield, please don't. And yes, they don't shield. It goes through. So now, even though they brought in this, what was that, Latias or Latios? Latios, okay. Even though they brought that in, I almost TKO'd the Registeel all the way, and now I have this Melmetal, which shuts it down with the Latios. There's not really much the Latios is going to be able to do, especially because it looks like the only thing they have is Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw. So I kind of wall it. You know, again, even with the steals in Ultra League, they don't like all that Dragon Breath damage, and the Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw spam ability is just still don't like that, right? But they had nothing but the Registeel left. They do come in with the Steelix. I'm sorry, they still have the Steelix left, and I'm kind of walled at this point too. So I think I'm pretty sure I do end up taking the L here. Yeah, that's a hard GG's. All right, so going into the next battle here against Dust in the Air. As you can see, I did change the lineup at this point because I had problems with the Steelix, and I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have a Steelix versus Steelix Mirror and sacrifice the spam ability of Thundershock and Rock Slide, since I don't have like superpower or really anything to answer a Steelix if I end up in another situation like that. Because if that happens again, then I lose. Now, you saw they did land an Earthquake clean into the Giratina, so they do kind of an aggro swap into their own, and then I counter swap with my Steelix here to answer it as best I can. So obviously at this point, they're just spamming what they got. I feel like they should be trying to go for that Ancient Power boost chance, but they're not. Looks like they're just going for the Dragon Claw. Hit them with the super effective Crunch. At this point, what's funny too is I don't think you really need a Crunch on a Steelix. You might be able to get away with like Heavy Slam Earthquake or even Heavy Slam Crunch if you really want to. I'm experimenting with the moveset still myself, so let me know what you think about it in the comments below. But they come in with the Charizard. Now, the Blast Burn is still going to hit super duper hard. So I have no problem using shields at this point. I don't want to get TKO'd. I want my Snorlax to be able to do his thing. I feel like in a lot of my comps, let me know if you feel this way too so far or not, but I feel like I rely on Snorlax a lot, and that might actually be a problem for me. I think I like Snorlax too much. Honestly, if I want to win and I want to hit rank 10, I don't like playing super meta. I like to have fun with Go Battle League, but I need to use Swampert more because, you know, you can see if Swampert goes unchecked and if you don't have anything to really answer it hard and your Giratina's already taken an earthquake to the face, Swampert's going to be a problem. All the time, Swampert's going to be an issue. I mean, at this point, it's a hard GG's. I definitely come out on top because I have this energy built up, but still, I think I need to use Swampert more. All right, for the next battle here, looks like it's against Gone. What was that, 19901? They open Swampert, no surprise. You probably see it all the time. I see Swampert leads all the time too. Which again is another reason why I like this leading with the Shadow Claw Ominous Wind Giratina Origin all the time. I kind of like opening up into the Swamperts, right? Because the Shadow Claw Ominous Wind is going to be a lot more spammable and I have the boost chance at the same time. And they basically have to go for the Earthquake. I'm fine taking a Hydro Cannon or two opening that way. So they have the Alolan Muck, which even in this matchup, right? Steelix, I mean, if I land an Earthquake, it's going to hurt that Muck a lot. But it's still a huge problem against like a lot of things. Alolan Muck is very, very good. I wish I had one powered up and double moved for Ultra League, but unfortunately, I myself do not. If you're considering it, I think it's worth it, definitely. So you can see I got the boost, right? So I have this boost going on the Giratina Origin. I'm throwing the Ominous Winds as fast as I can. I got another boost, dude. I got back-to-back Ominous Wind boosts. I'm going to tank the Dark Pulse comfortably, Shadow Claw into another Ominous Wind, and I think this TKO's the Muck. It does. Double boost, dude. GG's. They come in with their own Giratina. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm double boosted. I throw another Ominous Wind. Look at the damage, dude. That looked like Shadow Ball damage, but that was just an Ominous Wind. We tank a Dragon Claw. Ooh, I felt a little guilty taking that previous win, but at the same time, I didn't feel guilty at all because I was recording the whole set. I was like, this is perfect. And as you can see, I did change the comp a little bit again. I swapped another steel. I do like experimenting with the steels. I feel like they're all a lot of fun to use, especially Caesar here. I do not opt for Fury Cutter personally. I just go Bullet Punch, Night Slash, and then Iron Head. That's the set I like to run. I've considered trying out Fury Cutter, but I just love the Bullet Punch damage against the Fairy users way too much. So obviously we're going to put shield pressure on the Giratina Altered there. They actually opt for a Dragon Claw. That's another thing to consider. If you find yourself in a tough spot against a Caesar, remember the Ancient Power from a Giratina Altered will deal neutral to the Caesar, so that's what you want to go for. If you go for Dragon Claw, I'm going to resist that, so you don't want to go for Dragon Claw if you can help it, if you have a choice at that point. So I'm able to get a Night Slash into the Snorlax, but you know, it's Snorlax, he's a monster tank, he doesn't care too much, but fortunately for me, I can hit their Snorlax with super effective. They get off a body slam. I'm trying to kind of overcharge a little bit. That's the thing about superpower. I do like it for situations like this, but sometimes, you know, I have to overcharge so much because I want to get off double superpower. So it is kind of restrictive. That's why I say Earthquake is better in a lot of situations, but I don't know. I still do like superpower. I don't think it's a bad idea. So obviously, you know, I wanted to swap in against the Snorlax, even with the Giratina Origin, because I know that they still have this Muck left. I was kind of baiting it out. And the good news for me is it looks like we did successfully bait the Muck out. But at this point, with how the battle's pacing, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to come out on top. I just can't deal with the bite damage that's coming out from that Alolan Muck. They basically locked me out because of that bite damage, unfortunately. So GG's indeed. That's like, I'm definitely interested to try it. I need the dust. I have the candies, but I definitely need more dust to invest into one to at least power it up. Now, I still have the Snorlax. They come in with the Giratina Altered. Unfortunately, I'm not really going to be able to answer it at this point. You know, if I had Heavy Slam, for example, or even Earthquake, I could have, but GG's. All right, next battle here is C4ins. I switched it up a little bit. I didn't change the comp, but I basically just lead with Snorlax instead. Now, this is the first time I've actually run into a Suicune in Go Battle Ultra League. Kind of interesting. My gut told me, I'm like, okay, if you actually brought Suicune, it's shiny. I feel like you've definitely double moved it. They throw a Bubble Beam. I'm like, oh no. oh no, this battle might run into a timeout. This might be a timeout battle. They might be running some kind of cheeky stall strat. I still suspect it in my gut. I'm like, even though they're just going straight bubble beam, I'm almost 100% sure they have double moved that Suicune, and it also is going to be carrying Ice Beam, which, as you know, dragons are going to be weak to ice, and right now my whole strategy is basically centered around taking advantage of different team comps by running the single moved Shadow Claw Ominous Wind Origin Giratina. So this match is going so slow. They do have the Ice Beam, obviously, so I know what they got. They've revealed it to me at this point. Body slams are doing like nothing, but I'm like, I don't want to swap and then end up in a situation where I'm gonna, be countered and I'm still like a nerfed pick at that point. That would be bad. So I use a shield. I'm like, oh great, I just shielded a bubble beam. So I'm like, dang, you know what? I'm just gonna swap out immediately, come in with the Caesar, and then do what I can, save my shield, because at least the Suicune's gonna be Gonzo, and I can do hopefully something. I mean, again, it's Go Battle League, right? You don't know their full comp, especially if he leads with a bubble beam, Ice Beam, Snarl, Suicune. Like, I don't know what to do at this point, but I definitely don't want to get hard countered by the Snorlax when I'm debuffed with the Giratina. That would be very bad news. So they're throwing the body slams at this point. I just bullet punched down. We had a little bit of lag, but I don't think it was too considerable. Now this is satisfying. Throw the Iron Head into the Clefable's face. Oof, GG's trainer. Okay, so yet again, I really didn't change the comp. I think I just led with Snorlax again here for this next battle. So we do catch a Giratina lead successfully, and it looks like that is a Shadow Claw Giratina. So they are not running Dragon Breath. I definitely like this lead. They can obviously go for the Ancient Power boosts, but honestly, I am just going to lick for days, and I'm going to bait a little bit with the body slam, which it did pay off. Obviously, we successfully got a shield for basically no investment, so that was a win. They're still throwing the Ancient Powers, but their Shadow Claws are doing nothing while I'm still dealing super effective with the licks. Now, I've noticed how much damage even just the straight Ancient Power is doing against the Snorlax when I don't use shields, so I'm throwing charge moves to do... Obviously, it's not doing much at all to the Giratina, but even just, little bit at a time, since the licks are still super effective. As you can see right there, I'll probably freeze frame that, but I'm still catching up in terms of damage with the open, right? And I've used no shields. Well, I've used one at this point, but before that, I hadn't used any shields. Now, they go throw another Dragon Claw. I'm successfully able to lick down, even though I've retained the lead advantage, the swap advantage at this point. The bad news for me is they still do have a shield, and I don't. I'm 2 shields down when I led with Snorlax, which that's probably another reason, right? If you're considering a second move on Snorlax, that's another argument against what I run. You probably want Earthquake, not Superpower, okay? Now, I'm throwing the Ominous Winds just as quick as I can into the Swampert's face to do what I can. They opt for a Hydro Cannon, funny enough, then they counter swap with their Snorlax. If that Snorlax has Earthquake, which it probably should, but if it does, that's very bad news, because that'll hit the Caesar super hard. Honestly, what I should have done is gone just for an Iron Head. It did have Earthquake, okay. I should have just gone a double Iron Head. That would have done a lot more damage than going into a Night Slash praying for a boost. Yeah, look how much damage the Iron Head does. Iron Head, you'll get same type attack bonus with the Steel, but Caesar's not part Dark, so that's not doing much for you now. Honestly, I feel like I should have Shadow Clawed down, but I didn't, apparently. I just went straight, because they still have the Swampert. I'm scared they're going to hit an Earthquake. Did they? Did they hit it? No, it's a Hydro Cannon. So that is GG's trainer, because I hit that Ominous Wind, and we do take another W. All right, and for the next opponent, again, I really didn't change much at all. We open up with the Snorlax into an Empoleon. I think I remember this one. I think I actually lose. They use the Empoleon very well. I don't like Empoleon myself in the Ultra League. I mean, I might try it for a video to see what I think, but, really, I just don't like it as a pick. Even if you're running, Metal Claw instead of Waterfall, I just don't think it's going to do you many favors. I know that's going to be a Blizzard at that point, so I use my shield. Definitely want to shield the Blizzard, right? And that would do insane damage, even in Ultra League. Now, they have the Alolan Muck at this point, so I kind of knew at this point. I'm like, dang it, I'm recording this, and I'm about to take a massive L against this Empoleon Alolan Muck team, which, I mean, it's definitely GG's. I really respect that composition. I like what they did and how they put it together. Was this a Gunk Shot? Oh no, it's just another Dark Pulse. So they will resist the Lick, so I'm not exactly sure why they swapped out. Probably worried about the Earthquake threat, but They come in with their Giratina altered. I just go straight for the body slam. Did they use a shield? If they did, that was super clutch. They didn't need to. Okay, they did use a shield. So yeah, at this point, I think they're probably worried about either Earthquake or Outrage. Either way, I just go straight for the superpower because I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just have my Snorlax get KO'd right now and avoid them, you know, reaching a boost if they have a chance to get a boost. Now, that was kind of a mistake. I didn't need to do that, honestly. I should have just come in straight with the Scizor and then, you know, swapped out or even just let the Scizor go down so I can save the Giratina Origin. Or I should have just even stayed in with the Origin because that Kanto Muck is still out there and it's still something that I have to deal with. And again, the ancient powers are neutral into Scizor here. So I don't like that at all. And I was a little hasty here too because I went for the Night Slash. I only needed, what, 2 more bullet punches to get an Iron Head, which I could have had. So I definitely played that wrong. Hard GG's. We made a lot of bad plays. I think we got outplayed overall. Wait, did I win this? Oh, I think I might have, yeah. I don't know how. GG's. And the next opponent, again, I didn't change anything. We're still leading with Snorlax at this point. We're going up against its Goob. Let's see. Okay, so this one, I remember this one. They open up with the Charm Togekiss, right? I don't like that matchup, but I also don't not like it. But I'd rather, I mean, since I have the Bullet Punch Scizor, I'd rather just come in with the Bullet Punch Scizor to answer the Togekiss and either, you know, basically KO it or force a swap. Some people have just stayed in too, and to retain the swap advantage, and they've just gone straight Flamethrower or Ancient Power, and I've shielded it. So that's interesting too. It's something to consider. Please don't use a shield. I did. Why did I use a shield? I didn't need to. I guess I want to bullet punch down and see if I can Iron Head something that comes in, but okay, so they come straight back in with the Togekiss. Now, I was hoping I could go Night Slash, take the shield, and then go Iron Head, but I mean, it's Charm. I'm not going to be able to do that. I should have just gone straight Iron Head. I'd rather have done that. Now, they have the Togekiss. They go for the Ancient Power. At this point, I can just Shadow Claw down and build up some energy, and we can answer their Giratina Altered in the back, throw a few Ominous Winds towards it, and see how much damage. We do still a considerable chunk in this matchup, right? Obviously, landing a Shadow Ball unshielded is preferred, but since I built him up back-to-back, it still does a great amount of damage to the Giratina Altered. Now, I still have the Snorlax at this point, so it's hard GG's. There's not really much they can do. They'd basically have to get off like 4 or 5 Ancient Powers in a row. GG's trainer. So that was it for this Go Battle Ultra League video featuring the Giratina Origin form. Again, only single move. So, but this particular comp running with Giratina Origin, I did like this a lot. I really enjoyed it. If anything, what I think I would probably do with this comp at this point, I wouldn't run it the same way. I would still keep the Giratina Origin with the Shadow Claw Ominous Wind, but I think what I would do is I would actually TM away the superpower on the Snorlax and opt for Heavy Slam for the fairy coverage. So I go Lick Body Slam, Heavy Slam, and then drop the Scizor entirely since he kind of gave me problems a few different times, and actually opt for Swampert in that position. But overall, I do feel like I actually got legitimate use and I had some very clutch plays without having to buy a second charge move. So I did not have to invest another 100,000 dust, which I don't even have right now. So, you know, I was glad I found this out and I found these plays. Thank you very much, battlers, for watching. Subscribe if you feel my vibe, and power up, punch the notification bell for all the PvP content. That's it for this video. We will see you in the next video. Battlers, have a good stinking day.